Welcome everybody to Bugbears and Brews. My name's Brian, and today we're doing Encounter Recap number 15 for our Storm King Thunders campaign. Once again, we had our 5 typical members that are there. 2 of them, so we normally have 7, however, 2 people have been out for personal issues. They're going to be on a kind of hiatus for the next little bit there, and they're hoping to join us later in May, I think. So presume that I have the 5 players unless I say otherwise. So we had our 5 normal players, and then we did have another player that from another table because he didn't get the message that his DM was, I don't remember what happened, if he was running late or just couldn't make it. So we had Anthony from that table who was playing Rondi join us for the day. So started off the session with you guys looking at trying to stop some giants from hunting down Moog. These were frost giants, and there was also a winter wolf with them. And you waited until they split and went their separate ways, and you tried to sneak up on the solo one. Thought you did well. However, the solo one noticed, was it Thessalon? Noticed Thessalon sneaking up, and instead of Thessalon getting a surprise round like he thought, he got a rock thrown at his head, but missed. So we kind of played out like the Princess Bride scene there with Fezzik throwing the rock at Wesley there. So the first combat with the giants, the solo giant versus you guys, it went pretty easy. The only thing that really happened that was major in that fight was we had Rondi introduced, and then we learned pro tip number 1 of the night, which is if you are a squishy warlock, don't go toe to toe with the frost giant, as Thessalon was taken down in 1 hit. So luckily, as soon as that giant went down, you guys heard another giant coming off along with the wolf, so you were like, oh crap, we got to hurry up and get this ready. You guys popped Thessalon back up. That way he was ready for the next round of combat. And then in that round, the next tip we learned was if you are a squishy sorcerer, don't go toe-to-toe with a frost giant, which it wouldn't have been so bad. Don playing Inigo has some pretty high AC. However, a critical hit on the frost giant leveled him down. I think it was like 59 points in a single hit. Pretty devastating. But all in all, we had some fun with it. Then, when we thought everything was all fine and dandy, we heard a 3rd giant coming up, and everybody got ready. And that 3rd giant just happened to be Moog, but it was too late as what's her name? Nivara. There we go. I apologize. Nivara shot an arrow out. They wound up actually hitting Moog at the 600 feet out or whatever the max range is on her bow there. And Moog she took it in stride. She let you guys know, oh, I'm happy to see you guys too. That was kind of a quick move, but whatever. From there, there's a little bit of tension between Moog and Pavik, and you guys played it off. I forget the spin that he put on that, so I apologize there, but there was some spin. He made up a reason why he had to go separate ways and now why he's back. From there, you divvied up the loot of the giants. They didn't really have anything much of interest except for they had some cold weather gear, some big, mostly cloaks. So they had a big cave bear cloak and a big crag cat cloak. So you guys used those, split them up as much as you could to make everybody a little bit more warmer gear, because Moog let you guys know that she's been hunting around this area for a couple of days trying to get some warm weather skins made. While she had gear for herself, it was all really poorly made, and you could tell it's a little shasty at best. But after all this, you guys looked at what everybody had, and you said, you know what, I think we have enough gear. We're going to go ahead and trek up towards the Eye of the Allfather, which is you guys' ultimate goal here at the moment. And trekking up, the first day goes by without much of an issue. However, the first night is where everybody hit, not everybody, but certain members of the team who weren't as prepared as they thought they were, had to go ahead and pass the extreme cold weather exhaustion check. Seeing that, you guys talked about whether it's better to proceed on and hopefully make it to wherever you got to go before somebody keels over from exhaustion in the cold, or to double back either to the nearest town, which would be Mirabar, or to see if you can trade with the Great Worm tribe for some cold weather gear. And you guys decide, you know what, let's not risk anybody's lives. Let's head back down, talk with the Great Worm tribe, see what kind of goods we can get. So back down to meeting with them. You guys actually met with the same group that helped escort you out. You did a couple barters back and forth. A couple items I know you did was there was the Qualls feather token you guys gave up for some food and some gear, and then there was a Yeti bone sword, and there's a couple other odds and ends. But the one thing that really set them off though was you guys talking about you killed these frost giants and the winter wolf, and from there they did not like that because they think that you're going to start a war with the frost giants and their tribe. So they said, you know what, you guys can sleep here for the night, but once sunup comes, you guys got to head out. Deuces, see ya. You guys understood. You felt a little, I don't even want to say you felt bad about it, but felt understanding about it, you know. Back up second trip to the Eye of the Allfather. This time the weather was not an issue because everybody was properly equipped, but we did have several setbacks, mainly because you guys decided, you know what, we don't know where we're going. Moog's the only one that has a vague idea. Let's let her lead. Moog, she's not exactly smart. She doesn't have the best survival skills, so she wound up getting you lost a few times. So that put altogether between the multiple times getting lost, 3 extra days in the mountains. Another setback was one of Britch's bitches slipped off a cliff, and that was sadly the bitches with all of the, or most of the food. So you guys still had some food in your packs. However, since that one took a tumble, a lot of your food was gone. And then there was an avalanche. The avalanche, a little bit more devastating from a roleplay standpoint. Rondi got clipped, not buried, but took him in a little bit of a daze there. Inigo was buried, but was able to help get himself out with help. Moog wound up getting clipped as well, and Moog had Broomy on her shoulders. And so when Moog got clipped, Broomy then in turn got clipped. And as Don put it, Broomy became the ballast. Wow, there we go. I couldn't speak there for a second. And just went flying off. So as Moog got hit, Broomy went just tumbling down the hill there. And so while Moog was buried, Moog's hands were visible as, you know, she's a giant and much harder to bury. Broomy, on the other hand, was not. Thessalon immediately went to try to do like the echolocation, mind reading, telepathy, pinging there, but couldn't get anything. And so everybody just started taking, taking sections and trying to help everybody that they could to try to get out. And eventually, you guys did find Broomy. She was unconscious, and meta-wise, I did show you guys that she failed the first 2 death saves, and then passed 2, and she was on her last deciding way. I don't think I rolled it out to see which way it would have gone, but immediately, as soon as you guys found her little hand, you guys did a spare the dying. You know, Jose said tag, like a high five, spare the dying, right as he saw the hand. And then somebody popped a potion on it. I think it was Thessalon that gave the potion to her. From there, Broomy became much more reserved. So it took a few days for Broomy to open back up. Eventually, Moog was a little bit sad too, because Moog felt she let Broomy down. So Moog is no longer her kind of lumpy dumpy self, and Broomy was no longer her wonderlust child type deal that she is. And so it, different atmosphere at the table. But eventually, after doing some heart-to-heart with Moog and then helping Moog do a heart-to-heart with Broomy, everything was a bit better. And Broomy considers herself an official adventurer now that she has came close to death thanks to trekking off. So we now have a 5-year-old adventurer versus a 5-year-old hangout, tag-along thing. Other things here is you guys were down, you still are down to 1 day's worth of rations left for each of you. So you decided, talking amongst the group, since Pavic has crate food and water, you are relying on his nasty tasting or bland tasting food, magic food, and you're going to hold on to that last day's worth of rations just in case something ever happens and maybe Pavic takes a tumble off. This way you guys aren't screwed with no food as your only food source goes tumbling down. Only summonable food source, not to imply that you'd be eating Pavic. From there, you guys did see eventually got on the right path and came up to a summit, and you saw this big canopy opening. and it had this natural bridge going across. However, there was some really high winds going across, and you guys were debating like, oh man, how are we going to get across this? And already came up with the idea of rope and pitting. However, nobody had them except for, come to save the day, Rondi. Rondi, the guy from the other table, Anthony, had pittons in his bag, and so they went and crawled up and did a couple feet, did rope pitting and all the way across, and from there was able to get across the bridge, or the natural bridge, without issue. The complex that you saw, you do believe it's the Eye of All Father. All the artwork that you're seeing and the scale of it is pointing to be definitely giant in relation, and it seems rather deserted, so it seems like you're in the right place. However, even though it seems somewhat deserted, you did come across at the far end of the entry tunnel path, whatever you want to call it, galleyway, I can't quite think of the right word here. You did see several humans, and you were able to identify them as members of the Great Worm tribe, but they also had a white dragon wormling with them, and before you guys could say anything, Moog just took right off towards that dragon and started screaming. Her axe raised high because she took an axe from one of the fallen frost giants and was booking it to go ahead and kill that dragon wormling, seeing that this was a big no-no to have any form of dragon in a giant shrine. And we really thought shit was going to go bad, but then Pavik stepped in and did a couple trying to convince Moog to not do this, and wound up blowing through inspiration. Well, it took 2 turns blowing through inspiration, and then there was advantage too on a lot of these rolls because of the tactics he was using. And in the end, he was able to get Moog to stop by clinging on Moog's leg like a little kid and then screaming, "Think about the baby, think about the baby." And that's where we left off. So we have no idea. We know Moog did stop, but we don't know what's going to become of the situation. Housekeeping. Come prepared with a level 7 character. We will start with level 6, and then the first time we get a long rest, we will bump up to level 7. Once again, being milestones, we move a little bit quicker on the pacing there. 15 sessions and we're level 7 already. It's pretty quick. So do that, and I think that's about it for the housekeeping. There's no magic items or anything like that to discuss. So yeah, all in all, I had a lot of fun with this session. Combat was a little bit lighter, which is fine with me. We did a lot of role-play and some exploration stuff. I felt kind of bad with Moog being the guide, but you guys, we talked about it and thought it made the most sense. So Moog leading the way kind of put it in my hands, but I did it all open and fairly with survival checks ahead. I always roll in front of my screen anyway, but showing everybody the survival checks, and I was doing with advantage. I just was rolling really poorly on my rolls there, which is why we had a lot of bad outcomes. Hope you guys are having a lot of fun with this. The next session, I think, is going to be a lot of story development, so I'm really looking forward to that. And there's some pretty cool encounters in there as well. So really looking forward to next week. I got a little bit of reading just to confirm I got my knowledge going in. Do my notes tomorrow night. So talk to you later on Wednesday, guys. Bye.